What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. It's August here now. This is one of the most exciting and productive times in the food forest. So today, I wanted to bring you through and give you the full garden tour. Let's go! If you follow the progression of the videos, I often start at this angle right here, just so you all can go back and see the progression of things, how much the forest has filled up and how dense it is, how productive it is. I talked about how it was going to all be full soon, and you can see it really is. This sunflower here is getting heavy as the seeds are ripening. We'll be eating those seeds if we can get some of them from the squirrels, and the chickens like eating the sunflowers as well. They love hanging out along this fence, picking some of the tomatoes, the small ones, as they come up, like these orange ones down here. Little baby tomatoes. They're all over those, and they like hanging out in the shade too. So this fence is a trellis. It's an area for the chickens to hang out in the shade. It feeds the chickens. So we're getting that multifunctionality from it, which is so important. It's a huge aspect in the permaculture approach to growing food. Let me take you inside of the garden, show you just how everything is doing, and I'll bring you over to the new food forest because production in there is looking heavy. Before I actually take you inside though, I wanted to walk you along this fence line here, just a little more. Give you the angle from the outside in, and then we can get the feel from inside out. When you're in there, it feels like a different world. It's an escape. Surrounded by food, it's a fun escape. And the cucumbers are just so many of them in there. It's a bigger variety I enjoy eating, and the chickens enjoy pecking at them and eating them also. A bunch of cucumbers down there. So as you'll see through this video, real soon we're gonna have to do a new harvest video. This one's gonna be loaded with a lot of different colors too, as we have a lot of peppers, tomatoes, already, cucumbers, peaches. It's such a fun time of year here. I'm glad I can share it and bring you all along. And this pepper right here, this thing is just going crazy. It's going off. So many large peppers on it in a location that really doesn't get a lot of direct sunlight all day. But something with pepper plants, if you have pepper plants and they're in direct sunlight in heat like 90 plus, 95 degrees, that can actually kill off some of those blossoms. So it's not a bad idea to plant some taller plants and to have them shade out your pepper plants if you're getting really hot days. So that's an important one. But if you're growing something like hot peppers, actually stressing the hot peppers out a little bit will make them even hotter. And you can see the production we're getting on here. A lot of the tomatoes, some of them are still green, like the ones down there, but then we have nice ones ripening up. In here, nice ripe tomato in there. And these cabbages already, a little smaller than the monster cabbage we harvest, but nice and dense. Here's a basil here, a beautiful looking one. Purple cabbage next to some scarlet kale. The diversity in here is something we focus on for flavor and for production, and for so many reasons diversity is a great thing. More tomatoes down there. Some beautiful pink brandywines back here. I think that's what those ones are. Beautiful looking tomatoes. And some sweet 100s, nice and ripe and ready. So you can see we've stepped towards high production now at this time of the year. A little later than last year, but you know, the weather makes its own choices, nature sometimes. We need to learn to work with it, not fight against it. Have the system work for us, and it'll make it easier on us to get a higher production. I say it so many times though, but the further you move away from nature and the natural setting, the more work you're actually gonna have to do. And that's one of the important fundamentals right there, working with nature, because the more we know, the less we'll have to do. The more we have the system working for us, it's just gonna make it easier overall. Which reminds me of one of my favorite quotes by Bill Mollison. He says, yield is based solely on information. So I get a lot of you talk about how I don't have enough space, I wanna grow more, but think about it, maybe you just need to learn more. It'll raise your harvest too. Let's go check out the peaches and see how they're doing. If you've been following our channel for a little while, then you probably know we got hit hard with the plum curculio this year, which is a pest that attacks a lot of our fruit trees, the fruit directly. But that doesn't mean we're not getting any fruit. We're getting a number of peaches, apples and stuff, and these ones are like ones you've never seen in the stores or anywhere else before. This fruit is truly set apart, beyond organic, as natural as you could possibly do it, and that's why I love doing this. If I wanted, I can use one of the organic sprays. I told you one of them, Surround, that'd really help, but this is like nothing you could buy. I said it before, kings can't buy this food. You just can't get it. As you can see up there, we've got some really nice peaches, about ripe, so close, and that nice color when they're in the light. There's also a few, like you can see that mummified one that the curculio got. That's what happens. they'll eat the inside of the pit and rot the peach from the inside out. We'll make sure we get rid of those because that'll prevent the next round of cuculio. On the ground floor here, we've got so much chocolate mint. I wish I could take you through this and walk you through it because it's beautiful, because you could come sit over here, grab some fresh blackberries, and you just get that incredible smell of this chocolate mint, and the whole entire setting of it all together. It's just a lot of fun. Growing your own food in your backyard, getting connected. Tuck's walking through there, I can hear him. Here he comes. What a cute guy. I love this guy. My food forest buddy. But growing a garden like this, getting more connected with your food, feeling like you're a part of a system and, you know, guiding it along, it's something that's rewarding that can't be expressed in words, I guess. Those of you who are into this kind of stuff, you know what I'm talking about. It's just how all of us, kind of like how all of us gardeners love showing off our garden and bringing friends through for tours. We're growing the dragon tongue beans back here. This is a really fun one. It's got that purpling in it. This one, not as much. I gotta get a little zoom for you. You can see it's got the little purpling in it. This one's a fun one to grow because they actually taste good. It's not just one of those ones that just look good. They have good flavor and good snap as well. Tuck's back there probably looking for cucumbers. There's gonna be a lot of beans back here, plus we have the climbing beans and tomatoes just sprawled out along the ground in sections. A number of ones that just come up on their own, and we're not just gonna leave them. And some of the squash vine borer have came and actually took this one out, but that's okay. We've got a few squash from it and we'll get the next round planted. We still have more time for that. And just the rest of the food forest is just, it's become so lush, so dense. And I talked a little bit about that last video. I'm going to make sure I come through, stay on top of thinning and pruning, opening up to more light, especially getting some more light to these raspberries as they start to fruit. It's fun having a huge diverse number of berries and being able to get a continual harvest of those throughout the year, especially for health reasons. Having a garden like this is basically like almost automatically going to make you a healthier eater because of your options. A lot of times I think some of us make bad choices in regards to food and health because we don't have the options to make the good ones. You know, some of the organic food, and I know it's expensive, but if we can try to grow whatever we can in our backyard, I think that would help a lot. These cukes I showed you along the fence line as we're coming back, and these hazelnuts already got the catkins on it, setting up for next year. Little baby ones right there. So that's what's gonna pollinate our fruit for next year. And sun gold cherries that are on the ground. Right there is my favorite, actually, cherry tomato, flavor-wise. So good. And the honey drop I like too, they look similar. Look how sad this is. This one really upsets me, but I just made the video about this, how I had to thin this. Right after I made that video, I came out the next morning and this thing snapped because it got too heavy. That's what happens when you're greedy. I wish I'd saved this for my mistakes, because that's a mistake right there, but we learn. I came out and thinned this here. I may have to thin it more. Still heavy. Nice basil right here. Persimmons are doing well. We're hoping those start fattening up nice and good, and that'll be a nice late harvest for us. And the hazelnuts are also doing excellent. Hazelnuts are one of my favorite things. If you guys don't have nuts, you gotta get nuts in. You have to have perennials in, because that's something that's just gonna support you in the long run. But make sure you get some nuts too. It's not all just about fruit. Everything I just showed you though, that was all the 7-year-old food forest. And as you can see, those perennials are so large, they're shading out a number of our annuals and other things, although we're still getting some production. Now I wanna take you into this new food forest, the one we put in just last fall. It has all the perennials and everything, but they're smaller. So we're getting great annual harvest in here, making use of that space. And just a couple months ago, this was only grass. We didn't spend a lot of money bringing all loads of soil and stuff. We just put the wood chips down. We followed fundamentals, and as you can see, the fundamentals pay off. I wanted to tell you guys, there's no such thing as new fundamentals. If you come across someone who says they're, manufacturing new antiques, go the opposite way. Even though this is a new food forest, we still decided to keep this front section here in the corner close to the house for annuals, so we can continue to grow them, because I love doing that. We've got a lot of beans and stuff. I love my green beans. Even though these ones are purple, they're still delicious. And the color on these are so striking. This one's got a number of them, I think. Yeah, and they're not only striking, but they taste good. So there's a number of things that, a lot of times they'll look cool, but they don't have the flavor. This one looks cool and it tastes good. Plus Tuck probably loves eating these. He loves all beans, especially the purple ones. This is my guy here, the healthiest dog around. It's funny because The food that he's eating here, like I talked about it, you can't buy this stuff in the store. No fertilizers, no sprays, no pesticides, no herbicides, all love. That added bonus, that grandma's love we've talked about before. I enjoy doing this. I love doing this. This is my passion. I think that bleeds into some of the plants. Right here is one of my favorite varieties, that Asian one right there. So good. I'll have to give you guys a variety name in the future. Look at Tuck, he's looking around, looking for more beans. We've got so many ready of the other green beans too. Peppers setting up beautifully. The harvest videos, like I said, they're coming, guys. Get excited. I can't wait. This is what we've been working for. Look at that monster tomato there. It's a nice looking one. These little ornamental peppers for fun, you know, add that color. And the eggplants are all setting up nice. Soon we're gonna be getting a lot of those. Strawberries, I can see such incredible future production right there. Gets me so excited. And the peppers, this year is a great year for peppers. This thing is loaded. All these pepper plants are doing great. And the number of tomatoes on the way, scary amount. I'm gonna have to be giving a lot of things away. Just some of them are completely loaded. Basil, I gotta stay on top of. I've talked about it before, but whenever you see these flower heads with the basil, you wanna top these. You wanna take this off so it stops flowering, stops sending its hormones towards flowering and seed production, and you wanna bring it back to the growth. That'll just multiply the tops and the heads too. Back here, you can see it gets a little more sunlight. We've got some tomatoes that we just allowed to sprawl out right there. That's the indigo cream. Some more purple peppers. Strawberries, because you gotta have strawberries in a perennial food forest. One of the new peach trees we put in, we pruned that back so heavy. Some of you got scared, but now you can see the growth. Just wait till next year. When you put new fruit trees in and a lot of new perennials, the first year, you'll notice they spend a lot of time just getting their roots in, getting adjusted. It's like moving into a new place. First year, you just gotta get your feet in the ground and just used to it. And then the next year we can step up towards production. That's usually what happens, at least in my opinion. You'll notice on some of the tomatoes, we're getting some cracking too. Cracking on tomatoes has nothing to do with any disease or being unhealthy. Typically you get that cracking from hot, wet weather. So when it's not only hot, but it's also wet, you'll get the tomato basically growing too fast. The skin grows too fast, essentially, for the inside of it. You'll also get blossom end rot sometimes. That's usually due to something like a calcium deficiency. As this tomato is setting up nicely, and this might be the garden peach. The amount of cucumbers, just so many. I got cucumbers coming through my ears, but that's what makes it fun. Some more beautiful tomatoes down there, looks like pink brandywine. More basil, more indigo cream, more fruit trees, more cucumbers. That word more is something we love growing with. Some of the tomatoes actually got hit by a groundhog. We've got a resident groundhog coming around, causing a lot of havoc. He's a monster too. So we're gonna be trying to trap him. That'll be fun. Here's some Asian eggplants. These will be different. I'm not sure what the color of these are. I forgot, but it'll be fun to find out. A young peach tree, doing well, a little slow, but like I said, the first year usually that's what happens. Tomatoes setting up nicely. A little cracking because of that hot, wet weather. That won't ruin any of the taste or anything. Still delicious. More tomatoes back here. So as you can see, in this new food forest, we're working towards that perennial system, but we're making sure we get great annual harvests because we don't want to waste any space, any time. One of the ideas is as much solar conversion as possible. So the more of the sun that you could take into the leaves, convert that through photosynthesis into biomass, take that biomass, put it back onto the ground to refertilized. That's kind of the idea of it. But that's why we put the wood chips down. It's like a cheat almost. It's like 40, 50, 60, 70 years of biomass. Dropping that down, energy can't be created or destroyed. You know where it's going. Let gravity work down into the soil. What's gonna filter that? What's gonna turn those wood chips, that organic matter, into food for the plants? That's the microbiological life. That's the fungus. Just step back, watch, work with nature, and just let it amaze you. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. Recently I had someone ask me, they said, James, how is your channel growing so fast? Are you posting on some hidden social media site or something? No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's actually the same reason that the garden's excelling and the old food forest also. It's about the fundamentals. It's about consistency. I heard someone say that being success, that it's simple, but it's not easy. I truly believe that. I also heard another one. It said, you don't have to go out and do something incredible. You don't have to do something extraordinary. What you need to do is to do something ordinary extraordinarily well. And I believe that. If you enjoy this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends if you find value in it. And you know, James Prigioni and Tuck, we'll be back real quick.